Have you ever wondered how the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, one of the longest-running disputes in modern history, began? To understand this, we need to travel back to the late 19th century. Two significant movements were on the rise: Zionism, the Jewish national movement advocating for a homeland in Palestine, and Arab nationalism, a wave of cultural and political awakening among the Arabs. As we move into the early 20th century, a key event occurs: the Balfour Declaration of 1917. This was a public statement issued by the British government announcing support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This declaration, however, stirred controversy as it seemingly disregarded the political rights of the Arab majority living in Palestine. After World War I, Britain was granted control over Palestine through the League of Nations mandate system. The British mandate in Palestine, which lasted from 1920 to 1948, was a complex period marked by growing tensions and violent clashes between Jewish immigrants and the Arab population. The interplay of these historical events, the rise of Zionism and Arab nationalism, the Balfour Declaration and the British Mandate, planted the seeds for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. That's how the stage was set for a conflict that would span decades. As the world moved into the 1940s, tensions in the region escalated dramatically. The United Nations, in an attempt to quell these tensions, proposed the 1947 Partition Plan. It was a blueprint that aimed to divide the land into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem under international administration. However, the proposal was met with strong resistance, leading to the outbreak of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. In the aftermath of the war, the State of Israel was established, marking a significant turn in the conflict. This new state was recognized by many in the international community, yet it also became a focal point of contention as it was perceived by the Arab nations as an imposition on what they considered Palestinian territory. The conflict took a further turn in 1967 with the Six-Day War. In an astounding display of military prowess, Israel seized control of the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and other territories. This occupation intensified the dispute as the world watched these historically Palestinian lands fall under Israeli control. This escalation marked the beginning of a new phase in the conflict. Despite the escalating tensions, there have been numerous attempts to broker peace. In the late 20th century, the Camp David Accords represented a beacon of hope as Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin, under the watchful eye of US President Jimmy Carter, reached a historic agreement. This was a critical milestone, as it was the first peace treaty between Israel and one of its Arab neighbors. Yet, the road to peace was far from smooth. The Oslo Accords of the early 90s, brokered in Norway, were meant to provide a framework for resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. However, the promising beginnings gave way to a wave of violence and mistrust with the outbreak of the Second Intifada. The roadmap for peace, proposed by international players including the United States, the European Union, Russia, and the United Nations, was another significant effort to quell the tensions. It aimed to end the violence and lay the foundation for an independent Palestinian state. However, the Gaza War and numerous other conflicts have continued to stoke the fires of discord. The relentless cycle of conflict has had a profound impact on the daily life in the region. It has affected everything from economic stability to freedom of movement. A trip to the grocery store or a visit to a relative can become a dangerous journey fraught with checkpoints and potential clashes. In an era marked by right-wing politics and shifting alliances, the role of international players has never been more critical. Just as Jordan's King Abdullah II emphasized the importance of preserving the status of Jerusalem's holy sites, other leaders and organizations must continue to advocate for peace and respect for these sacred spaces. Yet, even with these attempts at peace, the conflict continues with no clear end in sight. Fast forward to today, and the conflict continues to evolve in complex ways. The issue of settlement expansion remains a contentious point, with Israeli settlements in the West Bank being a major obstacle to the peace process. The status of Jerusalem, a city holy to Jews, Muslims and Christians, likewise continues to stir controversy. The question of a two-state solution, once seen as the most viable path to peace, is increasingly contested. Recent developments have also shaped the landscape of the conflict. The Abraham Accords, a series of agreements normalizing relations between Israel and several Arab states, have marked a significant shift in the region, although their impact on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is still unclear. Meanwhile, regional players like Jordan continue to play a critical role. King Abdullah II of Jordan, for instance, has voiced concerns about potential changes to the status of Jerusalem's holy sites and warned of red lines that, if crossed, could lead to conflict. The future of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains uncertain, with new challenges and opportunities emerging all the time.